We're going through a second example of how to solve a rational equation. Again, it's rational because it's fractions and we have a variable in the denominator. This problem is number 15 from your book. I believe it's page 142. So we look at the denominators. We set each denominator equal to 0 to decide what x cannot equal. The reason we set it equal to 0 is because when x equals a certain value, this whole thing will equal 0. And remember, we can't have that. Oh, notice that I've got x squared minus 2x. So if I don't factor that now, I probably will have to do that later. And like I mentioned in the first video, this denominator is a combination of these other two parts. So what we find out here is that x cannot equal 0, x cannot equal -2. The next thing we want to do is look for the common denominator. So remember that we factored this into x times x minus 2, and typically when you factor, that gives you a big clue as to what our common denominator is. So our common denominator is going to be x times x minus 2. Because this fraction has the x minus 2 part, it just needs to be multiplied by x over x. This fraction has the x part, it just needs to be multiplied by x minus 2 over x minus 2. This fraction doesn't need to be multiplied by anything because it already has the common denominator. So when we add fractions, as long as our denominators are the same, we get one big fraction. So I've already done that. So we're going to multiply, and we're going to multiply, and we're going to end up getting 2x squared plus x plus 3x minus 6 all over our common denominator of x times x minus 2, and that's going to equal -6 over x times x minus 2. Now, I don't like working with fractions if I don't have to. So I'm going to multiply by x minus times x minus 2, but that cancels out. And since I multiplied the left-hand side by x times x minus 2, I have to multiply the right-hand side by x times x minus 2. And then again, that cancels out. So what I really have to work with then is 2x squared plus 4x minus 6 equals -6. Looks like a quadratic equation to me. So let's add 6 to both sides. And now I have 2x squared plus 4x equals 0. Well, I'm going to factor that. I notice that I can take 2x out of both of those terms. And now I have two factors. How do I know? Because there's an x over here, and there's an x inside here. So 2x equals 0, and x plus 2 equals 0. So on the one hand, x equals 0. On the other hand, x equals -2. Now remember up here, we decided early on that x cannot be 0. So this is an extraneous solution, which means I can't use it. So I have one answer, and the answer is x equals -2.